Alright, here we are for another tutorial. This time we are tackling round silos. So for round silos, the two of the measurements that our calculations really start to depend on is number one, the center line length of the wall, which is the center line diameter or circumference, of our entire wall at the center line point. The other measurement that becomes very important for us is the area of the slab base. That is the area of the circle inside our concrete silo walls. So let's get started. So for our walls, we're going to first calculate the center line length. So let's go ahead and choose another color. So how do we calculate our center line length? Well, what we do is we have to find our center to center measurement. So from the center of wall here all the way over to center line wall here. So what that is, it's the diameter of our silo, which is 3.2, and we minus a half a wall thickness on this side, and we minus a half a wall thickness on this side. So we minus one full wall thickness. So our center line to center line diameter will be 3.0. We have a 3.2 now. We minus off one wall thickness of 0.2 or 200 millimeters. We end up getting a center line to center line measurement of 3 meters even. So we take that 3 meters, that's our center line to center line diameter, and of course we know that the formula for the circumference is diameter times pi. So it's diameter times pi, and that ends up, what's our center line? Let's go ahead and calculate that out. Should be 9.425, and we'll just round everything to the nearest third decimal place. That keeps us to our closest millimeter. So now that we have the center line length, we can use this to, we'll go equals center line length. We can go ahead and use this number here to calculate the volume for the concrete in our walls and the concrete separately in our footing. So we take this 9.425, our center line length. We then multiply that by the width of our wall, the thickness of our wall, which is 0.2, and then we multiply that by the height of our wall, which is 4.7. So let's go ahead and do that, and we should find that the volume for a concrete wall, so that will be our 9.425. We'll then multiply that by 0.2, and then multiply that by 4.7, and that should give us 8.86 cubic meters. So we have 8.86 cubic meters for our wall. Let's go ahead now and jump down to our footing. We'll use the exact same center line length. So we have a 9.425. We will then multiply that by the two other dimensions for our footing, which is our footing thickness and our footing width. So multiply that by 0.2 for the thickness of our footing, and multiply that by 0.4 for the depth of our footing. And that should give us 0.754 cubic meters. And now for our slab. Well, we remember that the formula for our slab, or the formula for a circle, is the for our area would be pi r squared. So pi r squared, and that equals our area. So we first have to find out what is the radius of the inner circle. So to find the diameter first of our inner circle, we take our 3.2, which is from outside to outside, and we want to get the diameter for inside to inside. So we want to get from inside all the way to inside. So we have to take 3.2 and subtract from that two wall thicknesses. So we subtract a 0.2 and a 0.2. So we start off, we'll get back to red. So we start off with our 3.2. We minus two wall thicknesses, which gives us a diameter of 2.8. So now that we have our diameter, we know that half of our diameter is our radius. So then we have a radius of 1.4. So we'll multiply this by 0.5, which gives us a radius equals 1.4. So now that we have our radius, we can do our formula. Pi r squared is the area of a circle. So the first thing that we do is when we use our order of operations, we do our exponents first. So we do r squared, so 1.4 times 1.4, and then multiply that by pi. And that should give us an area for our slab. We should have an area of 6.158, and that's square meters. So now that we have the area, we simply multiply this by our slab thickness, which is a 0.15. We'll go ahead and do that. Multiply it by a 0.15, and the volume for our slab should be 0.924 cubic meters. All right. So now that we have our slab volume, concrete, we have our footing volume for our concrete, and we have our wall volume for our concrete, we can just simply add all those together and calculate our total concrete volume. So total concrete should equal 9.908 cubic meters. Now the last calculation that we will do will be the volume of our silo. How much material will fit in our silo? In cubic meters and kiloliters, it will be the same number. So our silo volume, we're going to go ahead and take the area that we've already calculated for our slab base, since we have to get the inside area of our silo, which is the area of our slab base. So we already have an area of 6.158. Now we have to multiply that area by the depth of our silo. So the depth of our silo will be from the top of our wall all the way down to the top of our slab. So we have to take the wall height and subtract off the wall height the thickness of the slab itself. So if we have a 4.7 for our wall height, we have to subtract off a 0.15, so we should have a 4.55 for our inside silo height. We multiply that by the area of our silo, so we'll multiply that by 4.55, and we should have an area of 28.017 cubic meters, or 28.017 kiloliters. All right, there's another tutorial for you. You can look for more coming up, and if you have any questions, please feel free to just reach out and email me, and I'll do my best to help you out. We'll talk to you next time.